So Greg obviously coaches a lot of the current or up-and-coming college face-off guys, but what about one of the game's current stars at the position? All-American face-off man TD Ierlan just got the news that he'd be able to return to Yale for a 5th year, only to now learn he may have to be doing it in a completely different set of rules. Statistically, Ierlan, the best college face-off player we've ever seen, and he'll have a chance to add to those records next spring when he returns to Yale for that 5th year. Ierlan able to return to school for another season because he started his college career with 2 years at UAlbany, meaning he has not yet completed in the full 8 semesters allowed at an Ivy League school. Little loophole helping him out. I just mentioned TD statistically the best to do it in the college game. Here are some of his NCAA records. Most career face-off wins, ground balls, best single season, and career face-off win percentage. The list goes on. But the face-offs he takes during his final college season may look a little different with these proposed new rules. And so we've got the top guy at the position, TD Ierlan, joining us now. TD, I want you to take me back to Friday when you first learned of what these rules are going to entail. Your initial reaction.
So, initial reaction was just, whoa. Pretty drastic changes, and I guess just had so many questions. Didn't know what they were trying to fix. Was it the issue of people being too dominant, or tie-ups lasting too long, or things like that? So there's just a lot of questions just surrounding the decision, and not a whole lot of clarity, I guess. But it's pretty crazy times right now everywhere. So I guess maybe I was just a little late to the party. So I was pretty shocked. I didn't really know what to make of it.
So walk me through, because it's standing up. It's kind of taking things back to old school before the position kind of started to change a little bit in terms of how much people were specializing in it. How much experience do you have standing up and not going with the motorcycle grip and going this way?
So freshman year, I stood up a couple of times, but I actually went moto grip when I stood up. Okay. So going to this new style is it's gonna be brand new for me. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but been working on it the last couple of days, and yeah, it's definitely gonna be an adjustment for a lot of people. I don't know if it changes as much stuff as the committee would have thought, but it's gonna be a little different. So I think it's gonna be a little tougher on guys' bodies, and I don't know. We'll see. It's if this rule passes, it's there's gonna be some things that are a little different.
So I know on Twitter you wrote about how you didn't feel like there were as many variations in terms of combating what somebody could do if they were dominant going this way. Greg has told us that he feels like there are some options. Now that you've probably done it a little bit more and practiced it over the last couple of days, how do you feel in terms of, like, if you're going against somebody that maybe has your number, or if you have somebody else's number, how people could tweak things in order to improve their possibility of winning the face-off?
Yeah, so my tweet, I guess it kind of caught a little bit of friction there, and I got some pushback on it from some coaches. A lot of good, a little bit of bad, but I just think I think I stand by what I tweeted. We're kind of going from, you could have knee down moto grip, you could go knee down neutral grip, and you used to be able to go standing up on your feet. You could go neutral grip, or you could go moto grip. Now you have one of those stances from the original 4. So take away all your knee down moves, and kind of Greg was saying rock, paper, scissors, and just my opinion on the matter is, in staying neutral grip, as he said, you can go over the ball, you can go cut under the ball, and then you have your counters. That's still kind of only 3 moves. So you, as opposed to, you could go underneath the ball from a motor grip. Yeah, it's unorthodox, but you could still sweep. People wouldn't be expecting it, things like that. You could get to counters and different counters from a knee that are hard to get to standing up. And you could go into many variations of your clamp where it's a little bit harder when you're in a position like this. So I still stick by what I say. I think there's top rail moves, there's bottom rail moves, and there's counters, but that's still 3 things. You know, there's not like there's so many counters you can really do that are realistic and going to work. And kind of the analogy of rock, paper, scissors that a lot of coaches are getting, it's like, well, it was still rock, paper, scissors with everything before, but there was more rocks, more paper, and more scissors. And if you go with this current setup, the bigger rock is still going to beat paper or scissors. So if you have a really dominant move and you can defend a clamp, you can defend a sweep, or you can defend counters, you're still going to be just as dominant, if not more so, because they don't have as many ways to combat this, in my opinion.
No, that's fair. In that terms, you're right. Like, you took away a couple of different options of stances in terms of what people could do, instead of now just saying, hey, everybody's got to stand up. It puts people a bit on the same playing field there. How do you adjust? Like, obviously, you've been so good at doing at facing off in the old rules. How do you adjust to these?
It's a lot of it was like relearning again, and I guess it's been nice. I've been through the process once. I was lucky to have guys like Drew Simino on my side and kind of taught me everything knee down. And now it's just kind of like reteaching myself. And honestly, after a couple days, I still have a lot to work on. But after the kids I've worked with and doing some lives, I think I'm just as prepared to go standing up as I was on a knee, especially relative to everyone else, because it's new to me, but it's also new to everyone else. So after figuring out some things, I think I think I'll be ready to go if these are the rules. And I think that's going to be the same thing with guys around the country. I just think there's a couple things that I think the committee need to realize before they make this an official rule. I think, for one thing, as I said, people are still going to be dominant. And if anything, as I said in my tweet, more so. You have less moves, less stances, and I think guys will still be just as dominant. So if that's an issue, it's not going to be solved. Tie-ups wise, you're going to get all those 50-second tie-ups still. It's not like those are gone, because you have two guys pushing into the ball with a supinated wrist, and you can't use your motorcycle grip to come over top and just finish the clamp. You have to just sit there and push into it. So you're going to get guys, which I've noticed, that are in 80-20 battles, and the guy with 20% is not going to leave, because then the other guy's just going to get the clamp. And the guy with 80%, doesn't feel comfortable enough to exit with the ball. So these tie-ups are just going to last longer, and as I said, you're going to get the supinated wrist, you're getting a hyperextended elbow, and all that force is going onto a shoulder. And it's just, I think, injury-wise, everyone I've worked with so far, they're complaining about wrist issues, they're complaining about their elbows a little bit and shoulders, and just, it's not a comfortable position. And besides, you're starting on your feet, and so you got in a squat the whole time, so you got backs and knee issues. I just think there's a lot that can go wrong, and especially with COVID and everything like this, we don't really know what people's fall balls are going to look like. Say people don't have fall scrimmages, and then we implement these rules and we go in and we're like, oh boy, we really messed up. We kind of jumped to a conclusion here, and then you're stuck with it the whole year. You could have injuries left and right. You could have guys still more dominant and people getting more injured. And you got kids training like this for 8 to 10 years. They're going into college and they're like, all right, so welcome to college. It's a brand new step. But you also have to adapt to a completely new style of face-offs that, yeah, you might do a little, but in my opinion, there's a reason that if you look at college, 95% of the guys don't do stand-up. There's a reason knee down works. So say the guys coming in, 95% do knee down because it's better for them. So it's this huge adjustment that in society right now, it's just, there's so much going on. It's hard to make an adjustment like this, in my opinion.
You obviously have confidence doing what you've been doing, and I also know how hard of a worker you are. There's a reason you've gotten to be as good at this as you've gotten to be. How confident are you that if these new rules go into play for this spring, say you do have a fall ball and like things work out in the ways that things can be implemented in terms of new rules, how confident are you that you can still be really good?
I guess I'm really put on the spot here. Honestly, I think I'm as confident as anyone else. Like, I think the guys, in my opinion, I think the guys that were dominant were still going to be just as dominant, if not more so. Yeah, you might have some outliers, but end of the day, I think the guys that are good are going to be just as good. And if you look at when they've made these tweaks to from where you couldn't carry the ball out of the back of your stick and the ball placement things like that, every time they tweak it, the gap between those top guys in that middle pack just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And honestly, I can see the same thing happening. I mean, I would like to hope I would be in one of those top guys, but you just don't know until things start happening. I'm confident in myself, but you just really don't know. So I think that gap's going to widen a lot, and those guys that are in it, hats off to you, and I hope I'm in it.
So obviously this comes as you got some really good news in terms of being able to go back to Yale for another year because of the transfer and you falling into a category where you haven't completed all the different years you could have competed at an Ivy League school. Walk me through how you figured that out and the news that you would be able to go back to school and finish up, but also have a chance to compete for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so I think honestly, it kind of seemed as if we were all going to come back, and we had 9 of our 11 seniors were planning to come back. It would be nice to get everyone back, but that's just not in the cards for everyone. So yeah, our athletic director told us that they were going to do everything possible to try and bring us back, and we just, for some reason, their pre-existing rules trumped us in this case, and they weren't looking to make exceptions despite the times that are right now, and that's the administration's decision, which is unfortunate in my view, and especially when you got a group of seniors that it's not like we're getting any money or anything at an Ivy League school. I know most of us are financial aid people, so we're gonna have to take out student loans, pay for another year, so everything kind of fell through there, and Coach Shea made me aware of this possibility, but I really didn't want to get my hopes up because I was with the rest of my class, and I didn't want. It's tough to be only the person to go back, and those are your brothers, especially people in your class or people you've gone to school with and just you go to battle for. So I told the seniors, I said, look, guys, it's probably a week after they told us we weren't allowed back. I was like, there's still a possibility I can go back. I'm talking to Coach Shea, but if any of you guys have an issue with it, I completely stand by it, and I think it's kind of ridiculous that I'm allowed to go back on these circumstances, but none of you guys are. And Colin Courtney, immediately after I sent the message, he's like, I'd be mad if you didn't go back and you didn't have that time to utilize, or if you didn't utilize the extra year that you were given. So and every senior followed suit just like that. So to see that support, even knowing they couldn't do it, that they wanted me to go back, it was really awesome to hear. And yeah, I was great. I kind of found a loophole, I guess. I was kind of unfortunate, being that it was just kind of a couple schools in the Ivy made this ruling, because my brother at Cornell, a bunch of their seniors are coming back. Very talented class, so we're gonna have our work cut out for us in the Ivy next year and across the country. But couldn't be more excited to go back. But pretty crazy set of circumstances. Being I've only been there for 4 semesters in the Ivy League, and just super happy to be going back, but definitely part of me gets ripped out knowing that I'm not going to be with those seniors that I've in my class and just gone to war with.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we talked about it before. You can't replicate the team that you guys had this year that you're trying to go back and make a run with. However, you do have a chance to go back and make a run and hopefully try to make another Final Four. What does that opportunity mean, and how important was it for you to kind of have at least try to get some closure to a college career that obviously you've put so much into?
Yeah, it's just priceless. I mean, there's no value you can put on something like that. Just to be able to write your story the right way and write the ending. I mean, I'm happy for guys like Jackson and Lucas. As hard as, hopefully we don't play them, because I've played with them a lot of times, and they're gonna be a hassle to deal with. So just I'm happy for guys like that, guys like Brian Ward going to Rutgers, and you're gonna be able to write it on the right terms. Just every senior, it's really tough for. I mean, no one wants that. I mean, no one actually really lost their season. There was so much to be played out, and just circumstance ended it for everyone. So to be able to go out and battle under Coach Shea one more time, I would so happy and elated, and it's just a second chance. And I think I'm just having me around, I'm hoping it's just like a reminder for all these younger guys that everyone tells you college goes by in a flash, and really practice every day like it's your last, and all those cliche quotes you don't listen to. And I mean, I think a time like this, it really lets you see that, as cliche as those are, there is some truth to those.
Yeah, I mean, because at one point the season did go by and it was over in a flash. You brought it up. How weird is it going to be to see some of these other seniors in different schools across the country, whether it's Denver, you mentioned Rutgers, and seeing these guys compete elsewhere?
Oh, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough seeing a guy like Jackson and Lucas suit up in another uniform. But yeah, I mean, I want the best for them. I mean, if I'm Denver and Rutgers' biggest fan now, it's gonna be so weird, but I'm happy for guys. I mean, other guys transferring across the country. A guy like Michael Sowers obviously sticks out, and him to be able to continue his career, and guys like Jackson. Like I'll say it right now, I think Jackson could be a Tewaaraton finalist, and in my opinion, I think he will be next year. I think he's one of the best 5 players in the country, and I think he's going to show that next year. So sorry, don't mean to put the pressure on you, Jackson, but I had a lot of faith in you. So it's going to be weird seeing him as a Pio, but I'm going to be happy for him, happy for Lucas and Brian. So it'll be weird. I think, as I said before, society's in a weird stage, and lacrosse is going to be no different. It's going to be very weird.
Yeah, just way to put the pressure on, you know. That's good for you, though. You put some extra pressure on them, take the pressure off Yale, and then you guys can figure it out, hopefully, like Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yeah, sounds good. If we play them in the finals, I'll be okay with that. Hopefully we come up on top, but I'll be okay with it.
TD, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for sharing some of your insights on the new rules, and obviously we can't wait to see you back at Yale next year. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much.